Have you ever used the computers?
No.
We've had to seize them.
Hey!
This is Curtis Sagmoen, a 42-year-old alleged murderer and drug addict who served just a single day in prison. Curtis was born on September 3, 1980, and grew up in the Canadian city of Maple Ridge. When Curtis was in his 20s, his family bought a farm just outside the city, and after Curtis's own home was foreclosed due to unpaid rent, he moved into a rundown RV on their farm. But Curtis wasn't living a normal rural life. Far from it, and what came to light on the 28th of August 2016 would prove this once and for all.
And I know that you...
Oh my God, so it's obviously boom, fingers pointing at me there, right?
There's a few things going on,
Yeah.
Curtis.
A few things is a bit of an understatement. Neighbors had found a crashed gray Mazda on a bridge just down the road from Curtis's family farm. There were a pair of pink shoes laid in disarray a little further down the road, and a trail of footprints were found leading away from the car. The gaps between the footprints were larger than those left by somebody on a leisurely stroll, so it was likely whoever had left them had been running for their life. The owner of the car was later identified as a female escort who was responding to a Craigslist ad requesting intimate companionship, but was scared off after being approached by a masked man brandishing a shotgun outside the gates to Curtis's farm.
So that's what we're trying to figure out here, Curtis. We're trying to figure out if you're guilty of this. You know, like...
We're trying to figure out, I haven't called any escorts to my house, okay? I haven't met anyone here for a few years, okay?
The detective is suspicious of these claims and returns a few minutes later with the ad in question.
I wanted to show you this ad. Do you recognize that ad?
No.
This clip signifies the importance of phrasing in interrogations like this, and I think the detective realized this as well, as what followed was around 15 seconds of silence after he realized he'd just totally blown a lead. But in this case, it wasn't too much of an issue, as they had managed to obtain a warrant allowing them to search his phone, on which they not only found this ad, but multiple more asking for the very same thing. But nevertheless, Curtis continued to deny contact with any escorts, but in short, defensive sentences while displaying very closed body language, all likely signals that he's feeling discomfort or subconsciously trying to hide something.
Did you meet that night?
I haven't met anyone. I've never threatened anybody and I haven't fired.
Okay.
I'm just tired right now.
The cop then decides to take a different angle. Originally, he was using rather aggressive language and almost demanded Curtis give up and admit to something. But after seeing how he was responding, he switched to a much calmer method that tries to indirectly excuse Curtis of any wrongdoing. This would hopefully cause him to open up more, and the detective would be able to slowly extract the truth piece by piece.
Part of what told me, Curtis, is that when she arrived at she noticed that the gate is locked. And when she got out of the gate, or when she got out of her car to go unlock the gate, somebody appeared behind her. And she described the male holding a gun, came out of the woods. Now, initially, the male wasn't pointing the gun at her. He was pointing it up in the air. I think that's a good thing. It means to me that the person that came out of that woods wasn't trying to kill her. Maybe he was trying to scare her. And so that's kind of the reason what I'm trying to figure out is why would that happen? Why would someone come out of the woods to try and scare an escort?
And to be fair, the detective's perspective here is somewhat reasonable, until he let off one round towards her car as she was hurriedly driving away.
If you didn't do this, help us out so we can clear you. If you did do this, if you did contact her, what happened? We're getting her side of it. And for all I know, something else could have happened that night where maybe you felt the need to defend yourself. I think you have a history with inviting escorts up there to that property. I think that you have a history in being with escorts, and one of which you got into a physical altercation with, or at least that was the accusation. And that's when we got involved.
The detective's story currently goes that after an evening with an escort, Curtis didn't pay the bill. The escort in question then admitted to police that she attempted to steal Curtis's truck as compensation before getting into a physical altercation with the man. The details around this are hazy, but it's assumed from here that Curtis possibly developed a hatred towards these escorts, and that could be a reason behind this behavior.
At the end of the day here, we're not investigating murder, okay? That's not what we're investigating. This escort is fine. She wasn't shot. She was a little scared, but she's not dead.
At this point, Curtis hadn't been told that they had already searched his phone and home computers and found evidence that he'd been contacting and meeting with these various women. But after a short break, the detective returned to break the news.
Have you ever used the computers in the house?
No,
Ever?
no, I don't use the computers in the house.
We've had to seize them under warrant.
Hey! Like, look at my chest! I never even in the house!
Sit.
What about my mom?
We're here to talk about it. You losing your cool is not helping.
I'm sorry I've been trying. Like, I
Put the chair upright.
sorry.
Curtis, you're upset right now because of one night in jail. Are you aware of the sentencing for a firearms offense? We're taking this really seriously. The minimum sentence for a firearms offense is 4 years in jail. Do you realize that? How are you going to react if you have to go to jail?
I'm not going to jail. I'm not going to be stuck in a room like that.
Despite the violent and scary nature of Curtis's outburst, this was actually exactly what he was looking for. He was able to professionally take control of the situation once more and put Curtis in his place by essentially treating him like a toddler, forcing him to sit back down and even put the chair back upright. And with this moment of weakness, he's able to keep pressing and slowly get him to open up more.
Did you meet this girl?
I didn't meet a girl. I do not meet a girl.
Did you text her? Truthfully, did you text her? Yes or no?
I texted a girl.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me the truth. Thank you.
Just a great story of my life. I go back to my room.
You don't want to talk about this girl anymore?
I don't want to talk about anything anymore. I tried to get to work. I got sitting there. I was supposed to go to work without a phone. How am I going to get the phone call to go to work?
Can I call your mom's place?
Like, no, like, I don't even have a vehicle. I'm trying to help you guys out. And I got a vehicle inspection because I've been working on my truck. I was missing 3 lug nuts. 3 nuts, and I was on my way to work to pick them up. And my vehicle is still up on jack stands because I can't afford to fix it. I turn around and I get knocked. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is where the interrogation footage ends, likely as the next part of the case was even stranger. After obtaining the search warrant for Curtis's farm the day after they apprehended him, detectives had actually found the human remains of another escort who wasn't even mentioned in this portion of the interrogation footage. The remains were that of Tracy Genero, an 18-year-old girl who had gone missing several months earlier after struggling with drug use and finding herself in many less than ideal situations. However, police somehow were unable to link the discovery to Curtis, as he faced no charges regarding this crime. However, he was still linked to the original incident with the shotgun and faced multiple charges, including dangerous misuse of a firearm, masking his face with intent to commit an offense, and possessing a weapon for a dangerous purpose. He was sent to trial, but due to the circumstances, it would be delayed multiple times before he was finally sentenced on December 19, 2019 to 24 months in prison, of which he would serve 0 days due to having a pre-trial credit of more than 3 years. Curtis, however, was placed on probation, preventing him from having any contact with sex workers, and is now facing trial once more for allegedly breaching these restrictions.